Hey, welcome back to the Burn the Rules to the Ground and Do Business Your Way challenge. I am so excited that you have made it all the way to day 3. I am so proud of you. I am so excited about all your ahas and all of your breakthroughs. You have really been putting in the work and way to go. Day 1, we talked about unblocking your magnetic energy. Day 2, which was yesterday, we talked about tapping into what truly excites you. And today, we are talking about stepping into unwavering self-trust and following your intuition and being able to execute on aligned action without hesitation. And you already know that the without hesitation is the most critical piece in this. Yes, absolutely. Before we get into this, I want to introduce myself. Hopefully I don't have to by now, but I'm going to anyway. I'm Angela Turpin. I am a trauma healer and self-sabotage slayer. I help soul-aligned service providers and trauma coaches slay self-sabotage so they can embody freedom, live on their terms, and do business their way. And I do this by helping them heal their trauma and let go of unhealthy childhood conditioning. And this is so powerful because, all of this is pieces to the puzzle. Healing your trauma is a piece to the puzzle. Unlearning unhealthy childhood conditioning is a piece to the puzzle. Doing business your way is a piece to the puzzle. Embodying freedom is a piece to the puzzle. Living on your terms is a piece to the puzzle. If you are running a business and you're not healing your trauma, it's going to show up in your business. If you are healing your trauma, but you're not doing things your way, you will eventually sabotage because you're actually making yourself show up out of force. If you're not trusting yourself, you're going to sabotage. And it's important that we talk about this, okay? Because learning to trust yourself is not automatic. And it is not automatic because we have been very, very conditioned to not trust ourselves and not trust our body and not trust the signals that we are given from our own internal guidance system. And this is actually what I help my clients do. I help them come back and be present and safe in their bodies so that they can feel that hell yes, so that they can feel that hell no, so that they notice when sabotage is happening, so that they can prevent it, so that they can give to themselves rather than feeding the addiction, because that's essentially what it is, right? It's a coping mechanism. And the more that you get into the habit of feeding that addiction, the easier it's going to be for you to feed it or to fall back onto it. And this is why healing your trauma and unlearning your unhealthy childhood conditioning is so critical to this piece of being able to trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, you are going to do what everybody wants you to do. And when things don't go right, when there's a hiccup, when there's a roadblock, when no one signs up for your programs right away, you're going to freak out and spiral out of control. And then you're going to switch up the strategy or not promote altogether, which both of them are complete. They cause sabotage. I mean, there's just no way around it. They cause sabotage. The way that you develop self-trust comes from healing, yes, absolutely. And it comes from taking action. It also comes from taking action that scares the shit out of you. It does not come from action that you're used to taking. It does not come from action that feels comfortable. It comes from very aligned action that you know is scary and you know that it's going to move the needle forward in your business, and you show up and do it. That is the commitment piece to yourself, to your business, to why you want to actually do this and make things work. And ultimately it's about freedom, right? I know everybody has a why, and everybody wants you to focus in on your why, but we already know why you're here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So we don't really need to dive into anchoring into your why. You've got to dive in to trusting yourself. And the only way to develop that trust is by taking aligned, scary AF action that is moving the needle forward in your business. And some of this aligned action is going to look like drawing boundaries with your family, with friends that are unsupportive, with toxic people that talk about your little business, or with people that aren't supportive, or with drinking, with smoking, with going out and partying, or any of those things. And I imagine by now you've kind of dropped a lot of it, but you want to be aware. And this also might be boundaries with the things that you cope with, or that you're aware that you cope with, and you start putting other commitments in its place so that it is feeding your inspiration, so that it is serving you, so that you're giving back to yourself. This commitment to yourself develops this self-trust. The more and more that you focus on taking this aligned action, the easier it's going to be. And it's like a muscle, right? So the more you practice it, the more you work it out, the easier and stronger it's going to be, right? And not only that, it's the same thing with your intuition. In your intuition, I promise you, your intuition is going to be very quiet for a very long time unless you're healing your trauma and unlearning your unhealthy childhood conditioning. The reason why it's going to be such a struggle to listen to your intuition until you do this, because you don't know what's up and what's down. You don't know what's feared and what isn't. You don't know what anxiety and what peace actually feels like, because your nervous system being so out of whack is it's a normal thing for you. It's probably all you have ever known. And so your main focus, if you have not worked on your trauma yet, which I'm hoping that you have, as a service provider and a trauma coach, I hope that you have worked on some of it. But your main goal is to reset and rewire your nervous system. Again, this is what I help my clients with. And you do this. The reason why you focus on this is so that you can hear yourself, so that you're building that connection with yourself, so that you know that what you're saying to yourself is exactly what it is that you need to be doing. You don't know why you need to be doing it, but you just go and do it, right? It's like when you're driving and suddenly you decide that you want to go get a coffee instead of going directly to the place, even though you don't know if you're going to make it on time. And then by the time you get to the area that you need to go, there was this huge accident that you missed by a few minutes. There are so many things that we do that we don't realize that we're being guided to by our internal knowing. But because we're so disconnected from our bodies, we don't actually know that intuition. And again, developing this can be a struggle if you are not healing your trauma and you are not learning your unhealthy child conditioning. Because not trusting yourself ultimately comes from that unhealthy childhood conditioning. And it comes from the moment that you're born and you're put on a feeding schedule and you're putting on a sleep schedule. Now, look, as a mom, I condition my child, okay? She goes to bed. There's a bedtime, okay? It is part of our society. I don't think that there's any way to ultimately get around it. Do I think that there's a better way? Yeah, absolutely. But she still follows a schedule. Just because I'm awake, just because I'm aware, doesn't mean that I'm not helping my child. I don't want to say fit into society, because that's really not what I want to say. But I want her to be able to be a productive member of society, but also be a very connected to herself, in alignment individual, if that makes sense, okay? It is crucial for you to get this down, because if you do not get this down, you will do whatever anybody tells you. You'll go off to whatever shiny object is next. And it is because there's other things going on in the background with you not fully trusting yourself. And people automatically think that because you've healed, you trust yourself. well, I'm healed, I've done the work. Why can't I just trust myself? Well, because it requires action. I know that sounds crazy, but you cannot heal. You cannot run a business without the action. You cannot expect to see clients and see success and embody freedom and live on your terms and do business your way without action. All of the healing and the action, they go hand in hand. It is crucial for you to get this down. This is why I give you journal prompts. This is why I give you meditations. This is why I had you execute or get ready to execute today, right? So you're going to execute all day long on this program or this service that truly excites you so that you can get the needle moving forward. Now, your goal while you are taking your action is to notice what comes up. What's triggering you to hesitate? Okay, and this is going to be all of those wild voices that are going on in your mind. And these wild voices that are going on in your mind are really what's preventing you from being able to take that aligned action. You know, you're going to hear things like, well, don't you remember that so-and-so expert said that you've got to post 3 times a day and you've only posted twice today and you're not going to make any clients if you don't show up one more time. And you're like, but I'm so exhausted. I can't do this anymore. I've sent 10 DMs. I've done all the work that I know pushes my business forward. I can't get a post out of me. Right? And rather than listening to yourself, trusting yourself, you push and create that content and you hate it, but you post anyway. Okay, that's not what we're trying to achieve here. Do I believe that sometimes you have to show up even though the feelings aren't there around showing up? Yes, absolutely. But there is a difference between being exhausted and still showing up for your business and then forcing yourself to show up. We are not about force. We are about flow. And that means that you still have to have systems and structures in place that you show up for every single day. There are going to be commitments that you have to show up for every single day. And in that part, that's your discipline. That's your commitment. That's what you're doing. That's your system. That's your structure. And if that's all you do that day, then that's all you do. That was consistent, okay? Consistent does not mean that you get everything done on the to-do list, okay? But when you're doing things like creating something that truly excites you, you are going to also hear things like doubt. Well, how are you going to do this? What makes you think that you can do this? When are you really going to make money from this? Are you going to X, Y, and Z? Who has ever done anything like that, right? It's going to question your moves. I want you to be aware of that. And the inner critic. Well, you're an idiot for thinking that you can do this. You're not smart enough to do this. You're not experienced enough to do this. You don't make enough money to say that. Okay, I want you to be aware of those things. The reason why I want you to be aware of these things, because these voices that are running around in your head, number one, they're not actually yours, but eventually, if you do not lean into them, if you do not hold space for them, they are going to destroy you. They are going to sabotage you. They are going to set you back from totally and completely trusting yourself. And this is where either working with me one-to-one comes into play, or getting into that Infinite Rebel bundle comes into play, because it is the best way to get my Self-Sabotage Slayer course and all the courses that I have made in 2023. It is a killer deal. So if you are truly struggling with the voices that are going on in your head and you're so tired of the voices that are running around in your head and doubting you and judging you, and there's the inner critic and telling you how unworthy and undeserving you are, this is going to let you know where your healing must take place the most. And it is going to be with integrating these parts of you. And that's all I'm going to say about all of that, because that healing is, I mean, we could spend weeks and weeks and weeks on it. But this is how to make you aware of what's really running your show. And once you heal it and integrate it, you get to do it over and over and over and over again, because there are always going to be parts of you that are trying to be seen and heard, especially if you have suffered from trauma, which I know that you have. Okay, otherwise you wouldn't be doing what you're doing, right? So I want you to be aware of this. And your job today is to execute and take notice of the thoughts that are running around in your head. And then come 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I want to hear all the voices. I want to know all about it. I want to hear what you've done, what you did to move past it. I want to know like what it is that you did. So your homework today, your action, your aligned action is about executing based on what excites you from yesterday. And I don't even care if it's that you develop the whole program. I don't care what it is. Only you are going to know what the next aligned action is for you. And you're going to continue to build on that momentum every single day. This is what that aligned action is. Make a to-do list, right? If that's what's going to help you keep you on track and build that momentum, do that. But only you are truly going to know what that next aligned move is. And then at 4 p.m., you're going to get laser focused coaching on how to navigate and work through these things that are holding you back, essentially. So remember, we'll be there at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you show up live if you're trying to win a raffle prize. And this is it. Like, I can't wait to hear from you. I would love to hear your aha moments and your breakthroughs in the comments. And I will see you at 4 p.m. Bye.